Hi guys, if I've been finding it difficult to join in a yoke into a deep sweetheart neckline or a plungy neckline, then this video is for you. I'm going to be simplifying it for you guys so you understand the trick behind this. So guys, you can see I have my yoke on top the table. I've turned the neckline of the yoke. I have my actual fabric which I have joined the center front and the side front together. This is my lining as well. Now the very first thing I'm going to do is to notch the middle parts, okay, of the neckline. But then before doing that, please ensure that you mark out your 1/2 inch. This is where you're going to be running your stitches. Just in case you are a beginner, I might not mark this out all through because I can actually eyeball this, okay. And the pen I'm using right here is a fabric pen. Okay, this pen that once you use your steam iron to iron on it, it's going to fade out, okay. But if you don't have this particular pen, you can as well make use of your pencil or your biro as long as you are marking it on the inside. Now I am done marking out the 1/2 inch for the lining. I'll repeat the same thing for the actual fabric, and you can see I'm doing this on the wrong part. First, you're going to locate the middle, okay. So I was confused. I was not sure if that was my middle, so I had to fold it into two and then marked out the middle part. After that, go ahead and place in your tape and then you mark 1/2 inch all around it. You're going to have to mark from the middle to one end and from the other and to the other end, right? All right, I have explained why I did not mark all through, because I can actually eyeball it. Now after doing that, you go ahead and bring in your scissors and you're going to have to notch. Now make sure that your notches do not exceed the 1/2 inch. Like, you're going to place in just a little notch, okay. After doing that for the actual fabric, I did the same thing for the lining, as you can see. And then after doing that for the lining, I repeated the same thing on the middle of the yoke. Can you see? And you know that this is a chantilly lace. You don't want to notch too much so that it won't tear from that particular point, okay. Now after doing this, the next thing is to bring in my actual fabric and the yoke. Now I'll make sure that the right side of the yoke is facing the right side of my actual fabric without any of them passing the middle of each other. They're going to align equally, and then you're going to place in your your lining on top of it. This means that the yoke should be sandwiched in between the lining and the actual fabric, as you can see, and then you go ahead and start to stitch. Now if you cannot do this without pinning it up, please go ahead and make use of your pin, because using a pin right at this point is very, very important. So you can see what I am doing. As you are stitching this, you're going to ensure that the remaining part of the yoke which you're not stitching on do not enter into your seam allowance. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm going to stitch from one end to the other end, and I started this from the middle. Can you see? So I am done with this part of it. Go ahead and cut off your thread. You guys, always cut out your thread when you're sewing a client dress. It is very important because these threads have a way of making your dress rough, your sewing rough, okay. Now after doing that, I went ahead to notch so that I can easily tweet the other side, like I can easily tilt it, okay. So you can see I arranged the other part of the yoke. Just ensure that you arrange it from that middle to the other end of it, and then placing your lining on top, and then you stitch from that side to the middle as well. So this is what I did, from the middle to the end and from the end to the middle, okay. So it is quite very simple to do this, all right. But if you cannot do yours the way I just did, go ahead and use your pin to hold it down in place. After holding it, then you go ahead and start to stitch. So while stitching, keep removing your pins, okay, until you get to the middle, and repeat the same thing to the other side. And you can see the way I'm trying to shift out the yoke on the inside from my seam, okay. So make sure that you do this neatly. As you can see, mine is very neat. And yeah, this is it. This is exactly how to do this. Now after this, go ahead and flip it over to the right side. Just check that you actually sewed it properly, like making sure that you don't have any part of the yoke stuck into each other. Okay, now I am done checking that, and yeah, next thing is to top stitch on it, even though I didn't show you right here. And this is how to sew your yoke into your plunging neckline.